Alright, so here's an interesting video on the deadlift. This is my second day in a row deadlifting, and you can see how I'm testing the flex on the bar. I'm actually practicing the right hip position so I can get to the right spot. And this is kind of my opportunity to mess around with my form a little bit to see if I can get a better pull. And what I'm finding out is I use my back a lot in the deadlift, especially all the way up until about maybe 500 pounds. I use the speed of my low back, the speed of my lats, and the strength of my traps to really propel the weight up off the ground. And I can basically grind out a lot of weight, but it's not optimal because my hips aren't fully engaged. And one of the things about the deadlift is making sure that you're not just keeping the bar close to you, not that you're not keeping the bar path vertical, but also leveraging yourself in such a way that your shoulders or that your body is sitting backwards. And although it feels very awkward, the one thing I'm definitely not doing is sliding the bar up my shins. I'm not scraping my shins. It's actually close to my shins, but it's not scraping it. So what I'm doing in this session, second day in a row, is I'm trying to play with what that feels like. And sometimes it feels right, sometimes it doesn't. And I want to, because I want to get to a 600-pound deadlift by the end of the year. And the way I'm going to do this is a combination of building strength as well as improving my technique. And what I'm finding just before the bar gets to my knees, I'm finding that I extend too quickly and don't allow for a full hip extension, or my hip extension comes too soon, and I'm missing out on a lot of potential power. So in this set here, you're going to be able to see me kind of set up a little differently, and I'm going to do like half a deadlift just to my shin, because I want to know what that feels like when I go up. And I want to know where that is. So I basically need to just the top of my shin, or the top part of my shin, just barely below the knee, and just pulling up to that point. And what I'm finding when I get the right spot with the deadlift, I feel my glutes fire significantly. And now if I could do that in a very fast and explosive way, I'm going to be able to lever the weight in such a way and get a lot more speed out of my deadlift, a lot more grind, and get more work done. And that's kind of what I'm trying to do. I'm really trying to perfect my technique. And I'm a big deadlift nerd. I'm a nerd. I'm a deadlift nerd, and I'm just trying to improve the way I'm lifting by using the proper leverages. So I actually got some deadlift socks today to kind of, some long socks. So here's a slow motion clip. And I apologize, I kind of put a lot of, you can see the bar flex. Let's go see here. I put a lot of video in here, almost useless video, just so I have more talking time. Because I want to tell you kind of the stuff that I really learned today is that I use too much of my back. And that there's nothing wrong with that because I can still pull over 500 pounds and get a good lift on my meat. But I want to incorporate, I'm just thinking about the future of improving my hip involvement in the deadlift. And what that means is what's important is I need to make sure that my hips stay low enough. So I'm here to do a partial. And essentially, I know people say you get your hips low enough, you get lower. What you're doing is you're allowing to get more quad activation. And one of the big things is that's not so much about getting lower. It's really more about staying low and then fully extending at the right time. And that's the part that I'm missing. I'm not fully taking advantage of my full hip extension because a lot of what I use is the kind of the stretch of my lats and the strength of my upper back to really get the weight up. So I'm just kind of showing you kind of what I'm doing as I pull this weight up, and I'm trying to get the right feeling in the muscles, and that's kind of all I'm trying to do. I'm trying to improve my hip position and allowing my butt to stay low enough, long enough before exploring through past the knees, because that's really what's important, is getting that hip to really focus on engaging, especially at the heavier weight. This is only 315 pounds, super light, or super light for me, and what it is basically I can rep out a shitload of weight out of this thing. But the thing is that there's sometimes where it feels super light and there are times where it just feels just right. You got to get it to a point where it's super light. And the way I'm going to do that is by getting my body to go all the way back and throw my shoulders back and sit my butt down and keep it down up until the very last moment that I need it. So I'm kind of replaying this a bunch of times because what I'm trying to do is I'm actually sharing some of my thoughts as I observe my own movement. Here I am in slow motion. And again, what I'm doing is paying attention to where the bar is, keeping it close to my shin, and basically scraping my shin. And you know what? I could have scraped it a lot harder and pulled it in closer, but to be honest, it hurt a lot, and I wasn't used to that. So, like I said, I got some socks. You can see how I pull up, and that's actually the right position right there. That looks fairly good, even though it looks like my shoulders are a little bit too high forward. But the main thing is sitting down, and there's a spot just below my kneecap that I need to basically hold that position, keep my butt down, and once I pass, as I get to the knee, the bottom of the kneecap, I need to explode through the hip, blast through, and then really finish the lift. And that's kind of one of the things I'm learning today, and I'm realizing that this is really what it's about, is keeping the hips down low enough, long enough. And I hope you got a lot from this video. I felt like for me, if anything, this is a really great training tool, watching these videos of myself and giving myself critiques. Thanks for watching.